Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the wrong end of the snake question and answer period. Adam Stewart has agreed to spend another 30 minutes with us talking about fun stuff. Tater, what do you got? I know we had some questions, and I know that you have some questions. It seems like our main hour flies by in like 2 seconds, especially when we're talking with good friends.
Yeah, well, especially, we had Bob Wilcox listening, so he's getting ready to do Motley Crue when that comes back. So I'm sure he was
taking notes.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to get a private call from him later. But anyway, and especially because you've done monitors and front house, you've got all the files, you've got all the keys to the kingdom there, and I'm sure some great advice. But anyway, there's something all three of us have in common, which is Prophets of Rage.
Oh,
but what we don't have in common with Prophets of Rage, if we had like an audience here, I'd say one of us three did not do audio for them. Which one of us three did not do audio for them? And that would be Adam. So, and I just want to get in the transition, how you took that on, how did it go? And not just with Prophets. I think you had to go do 6 a.m. as the production manager, but you were also mixing on that, right?
Yeah. So I guess that was kind of the transition is, working with Motley Crue after Motley ended, Nikki was starting the 6 a.m. project, and wanted to take that kind of on full time and wanted me to do audio for it. And as an added bonus, I got to be production and tour manager on it.
That sounds like someone went, you're going to be production manager. Yeah. Is that how that went?
Yeah. It was a new thing. So
you are.
It was a very good learning experience.
And did Nikki knew you hadn't really done that before and you were doing it to help him out. I'm sure he was very thankful for it, right? I mean, and forgiving of,
And I will answer the question, the wrong end of the snake.
Which is it?
Production.
Yes, the breakout to production is where you don't want to be.
I respect everybody in production wildly more, and tour management for that matter as well, because they have a not easy gig.
Oh my God!
Way beyond what we they have to deal with us. Totally. It's bad enough dealing with us.
Yeah. And we talked about all the superstar mixers that mixed Motley Crue and Kiss before you were there, but Motley Crue, and Kiss, but Motley Crue had some superstar tour manager and production managers too. So
absolutely,
there's a whole nother role to fill in that area.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was a big learning curve. What was the biggest lesson you learned in that? Don't do it again.
Don't ever say yes to this again.
Man, I don't even know what the biggest lesson is. Patience, I guess, like self-patience, not just with everybody else, but like you guys gotta like take it one time, one step at a time. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's organization though, right? Like it's all about organization. It's all Yeah.
So then that kind of led to the Prophets thing. I was ending a tour in Europe with Kiss, and the production manager for Prophets had to leave and asked if I could fill in. And so, he had everything in place for the most part. So it was a very easy transition to kind of fill in. And tour manager was Tim Krieg. I worked with him on Motley, so knew him very well. And I knew a lot of the people. So it was a very easy transition. Everybody made it easy for me.
Yeah.
Which is very helpful, obviously.
And those guys are
Greg Collins.
Cool. Yeah. Greg Collins.
Yeah. Greg in a while,
and those guys are cool to work for. So yeah.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. My guy next door to my building here, he's got tickets to the Rage Against the Machine. I keep saying, man, turn those things in, get your money back. Hell no! He's gonna hold on for 10 years.
I hope for his sake it's not, or for our sake it's not.
Yeah, for our sake it's not. But he's like, no. But I think maybe a lot of people are thinking that, right? Like, you've already allocated the money; it's already gone. It's like having it in the bank. That ticket's like having it in the bank, right? You want to see that show. You're gonna wait. Yeah.
Whenever it comes back.
Yeah, totally. I think that you touched on this in the original episode there, but I want to talk about it a little bit more because every guy handles this differently.
Yeah.
You seems like almost you mix a lot of legacy acts, and so you're showing up maybe not that someone got fired, but you're the next guy in line. They've had 12 guys or whatever.
Yeah.
What's your MO? Do you you don't take anything from the old guy, you just start from scratch and do your thing, or?
Yeah, I prefer to not, just for several reasons. One, I know that I put a lot of weird things in my console files. I do things. We all do those things, and
for sure.
So I don't want to get caught in anything that I don't know. Also, I like to build my own files, every couple legs, even on a tour, just so that I kind of get a fresh start. Because
that's interesting. Okay.
I find that, it kind of ends up in the same spot, but same thing, I'll find like little things that I did that I'm like, that not necessary, or...
that's interesting. So do you look at it like offline in between, or what do you do? Oh.
Yeah, kind of clean up clean up the file just so it's not...
Do you start with a base file and bring it in as presets or anything like that, or?
Usually not.
No? Oh, wow.
No.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot.
That sounds like a lot of work. Yeah.
Some things I do presets for, but not like a full mix.
Interesting.
Wow. Very interesting.
All right. That's cool.
I don't know if I'm going to adopt. I don't know if I have the patience to adopt that too.
I don't either.
You have to commit to it, because
yeah.
Otherwise you're like, I'm just gonna open up my old file.
And definitely a big commitment to that.
I've had those thoughts where I'm just like, I'm just gonna open the old file. But...
I mean, God, I remember I was doing Stone Temple Pilots, and we were at a festival, and you were doing Motley Crue, and there was no sound check that day, and you were up at that desk, and I came and asked you something, probably like, I need a frequency or something. I was probably being lazy and wanted to get some information to make my day easier.
Yeah.
But and I go, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, we got a run in Vegas coming up, and I'm programming the MIDI to turn off my lights over the desk or something. I'm like,
that's I was definitely comfortable and dialed in at that point.
Yeah, apparently so.
So maybe you do have time to change files if you're programming the desk, your light you're programming or something to turn on and off for you when these.
I did. I had a GPIO set up to turn off a lava lamp.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
At one point, because you
didn't want it hot when you packed it up.
Yeah, I mean the problem is we'd forget to turn off the lava lamp, and then it's hot and you can't put it away. It's a disaster.
Issues that we have.
I know,
horrible
right?
issues.
Yeah,
yeah, that's being comfortable. No doubt about it.
But what about when you sit in for somebody? Have you been in a situation where you've come in and like you're only going to mix like 2 or 3 shows? Do you build your own thing, or do you show up?
Just show up.
Okay.
And knowing from you guys, but I know you took over a show for me on Kiss, Tater, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I used your file almost to 100%. I may have changed the layout a bit, but I didn't change anything integral.
So I guess is what, my approach is very similar to yours. You were way more detailed than I would be. You went through every single.
Oh, I did.
Every single channel strip. And
I really cared, didn't I?
Yeah.
Has that all changed?
I don't know. I think back, like, you're right, I did, because I remember I had it all on a yellow notepad, and I called you, and we went through everything.
But that's important, though, because, even just going through that, I was even thinking, like, oh, my God, what did I do there? I'm like, oh, that's why I did, and hopefully I had most of the answers of why I did those things.
I'll tell you a funny story. I don't know if you ever know about that gig. That file was great. The one funny thing was the second show, Gene goes to me, that's not my bass tone. And I'm thinking,
well,
that's kind of a famous line for him, though.
So I dialed it up, and he gave me the look, and I was okay. So I escaped that. I escaped that torture, and it was in the front of that ship, in the bow of that ship where the stage was. But anyway, the first night we did the top deck, right? So got everything set up. And we're having a problem with Eric's mixer. Got it sorted out. He was happy as hell. And I'm going to ear the band up, right? Working on the ears all day, making sure everything's right. Go to ear the band up, and they're late and all this kind of stuff. And I have all the ears on the table, going to meet them in this little room behind the stage, ear them up. And Paul's like, I don't think I need the ears tonight.
Oh, shit.
And then Gene goes, yeah, we're just outside on the deck.
No.
He's like, yeah, we're just going to play.
Oh, my God.
It's like,
I've been there. I've been there and I'm like, no, it's not a good idea.
It's not a good idea.
So at least I've gotten to the point where I can be like, nope, not happening.
You can tell them no, yeah.
Bad idea, no.
Yeah, so I just go, they're like, Robert pulls me, you need more time? What do you got to do? I think, you know what? I said, what's more time? What am I going to do with more time? Just let him go and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And you must have had something in those wedges because something came out and Gene was asking me for some stuff about 3 songs in, but he was just testing me. He didn't really need it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He was just seeing if I was on the ball, and I was looking at him.
Those wedge mixes are probably from last time they pulled that on me.
And it went great. And I was just like,
literally, it's probably from the last time that they. Yeah, that's funny.
Awesome.
Oh no! So I thank you, but I'm glad to hear that I did that I went through it that well.
But I mean, that's
impressed with myself.
But it's important because man, if you just get to a file and you're like, oh, we don't need that. Well, yeah, you might have needed it.
Well, I think what with that file is I know that's a proven file that you can plug in, and if you line check it and check all the outputs, you've got a great starting point that many people have used that file, and it's a proven file. My thing is going through it that far is I was scared of getting to somewhere that I didn't understand what was going on, and I needed to understand every bit of that file before I used it.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I had those notes.
A big one for me is automation. If they're using a lot of automation, that's a lot of people approach automation very differently.
Totally.
Very differently. So that's something that can really, really hurt you if you don't understand how and why they're doing something like that, because I've gotten in that situation where even just as a tech, and someone's like, I don't know why it's doing this. It's like, well, let's dig into this and see what's going on, because, they might not even know that they did something that's changing something. So for me, when you're taking over a file, it's really important to check that.
You got to know it inside and out.
Yeah.
And, oh, shoot, he froze up again.
He froze, but you can still hear him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Because even on Iron Maiden, when I took over, I created a new file, but I had to bring in some of his stuff on presets and luckily I did, because what I was scared is the old, they don't want to sound check and all that kind of stuff. And I was worried I wasn't going to get the time. And that's exactly what happened. They came in a day early, and I don't want to say I wasn't ready, but I was planning on them getting a whole nother day, and I didn't get. And if I hadn't had those presets there on some wedges I hadn't used and stuff, some EQs and stuff, I would have, I already got through it, but it just made my life easier. So I've done it all ways, taking your file and doing it, and then importing stuff and building directly from scratch. So it's important maybe to learn all the ways, I guess.
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds to try and fix this.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So, Adam, I have personally stolen 100 ideas from you. Whenever you're like a system engineer, or whenever I'm having issues or whatever, you're my go-to caller. And you always take my call and you always try to help me out, and I appreciate that. But you're also my keeping the thumb on technology guy. Yeah. So is there anything cool that I should know about, or a microphone that you like that I haven't tried, or something new that is like, oh man, you should check it out, like a reverb or anything?
Oh man, this break is killing me because I don't have much right now.
Okay,
nothing. Then no, hey, you have to use this piece of software. This is the one, because you turned me on to like Fidelia and whatever else.
I just switched to Cubase. I'm using Cubase as my record now.
Why is that?
And I'm liking it. So I used to use Reaper.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm. And on the last show I did, I still used Reaper, but I had some issues with it, so I decided to switch to try something new. So I'm trying Cubase.
That's been around a while.
Yeah.
What's the reasoning? You just had an issue with Reaper, or is it because the editing's better, or because the whatever?
So editing on Cubase way easier for me. It's way closer to Pro Tools. It's like Nuendo. I know Nuendo pretty well, but it doesn't have the Nuendo price tag.
Right.
Nuendo's Yamaha,
Yeah, I was just trying something new.
Cool.
Okay, so on that microphone question, if you only had one microphone, what microphone would it be?
If I only had one, I think
Gotta say a 57.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it'd be a 57.
I'm waiting for someone to say something different, but that hasn't happened yet. Okay.
Well,
I
I
mean,
just you can put you can put a 57 on anything, right? I mean, it's like
I've seen a guy do it.
yeah.
An M88, a biodynamic M88.
As your only microphone?
It could be.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I've used that on kick and snare.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, they were
toms.
great on kick. Yeah.
They sound
And it
good
would
on
work on a vocal.
They
very
sound
well?
on vocals, so that would maybe be another choice. Because
Maybe I should edit the question from now on and say beside a 57
Yeah, there you
or
go.
58.
I
Yeah.
think that would be my second choice probably because I have used those on almost everything. I've used them on guitars. I've used them on drums. So I guess that'd be a good.
I
number
used to
two
love
choice.
it on a kick drum. Yeah.
It's one of those mics like you kind of for me I kind of don't really think about it and then I'm like I'll have one in my work box and I'll try it and I'll be like well it sounds pretty good. Just whatever you put it in front of you, you're like that works good. Like for guitars and stuff it works.
No, I love it. Yeah, that was a great thinking there. I don't know if I would have pulled that one out, and I even own a few. So yeah, good choice.
I think it's a smarter answer than a 57, actually. Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
I'm stealing it from you. That's going to be my answer.
Like I said, they just whatever you kind of put them in front of, they sound pretty good. So
yeah, it's good. It's a good microphone.
Yeah, no, it is a very good microphone.
Shout out to Biodynamic.
Yeah, because I was going to say I don't dive into the Biodynamic family that much anymore.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't dive into the Audix family really at all, and never have. Nothing wrong with any of these products.
Yeah.
No.
Just you're getting circles of stuff you use and you use. How come you have not done any Digico videos?
I don't know.
Because he's busy farming. He's farming right now. He doesn't have time for Digico videos.
Yeah.
Well, not right now. He's not. But
right now I'm not. I don't know. I guess I haven't. I don't know.
I think
I don't know how that would even come about. So
us older geezers and some younger people would love you do so many cool things with the console, macro wise and setup wise and stuff like that. Man, I'd love to see you do a little series on those because you've got some great ways of thinking, different ways of thinking and all that stuff. And you know that platform just so well. I would love to see that, me personally.
I love my macros. I use them a lot. I use them to start my record. I use snapshots to start the recordings. I even play like my intros,
the
my
old
effects with
the
them and
old
stuff.
start the house music on time and all that without going to the console.
Yeah.
I mean,
that I stole that from Adam.
Yeah,
no one wants to walk inside to start house music.
No, are you kidding?
Nothing's better when you're on the bus and you hear that turn on house music.
I know.
I don't have to get up and do
You're
it.
like, give it another 30 seconds.
30 seconds and it will work. Yeah, I know. That's badass. I love it.
I think that would be something. I mean, just being selfish, I would watch, to see.
2 weeks from now is Matt Larson and Chip on our thing here, so we're gonna sell that to them. They're gonna be reaching out to you 2 weeks from now.
I've been on Matt because I want a new Digico cover that says Quantum 7 and
Jeez,
don't we all?
They're
in the works.
How about the guys that bought SD7s and Quantum 7s? How about those guys?
We've been waiting
let's get
on
a new
them.
cover for that. And thanks for reminding us, because that's what we'll do. We'll pelt them with that for
dude.
I wanted to give them a hair of a break during COVID because I'm sure they're not. I'm sure they're not selling the quantity they once were, but I think they've been doing fine.
Yeah.
Just speaking of Digico, if you couldn't have a Digico for a tour right now, what would be your second choice?
Probably a Yamaha, a PM10 or 7. One of the newer
the Rivage series.
Yeah. I used to mix on like PM5D a lot. Loved them. Super.
Me too.
It is what it is. They work great, stable.
Yep.
So I think that's a good
platform.
And, it's something I'm comfortable with. So I'd probably go that route.
It takes a little bit of the way they think is a little bit
you got to go
different.
back to Yamaha thinking for sure. Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm not closed to anything. I'm not. So if I had the opportunity to try some other ones out, I definitely would. I just, we all kind of just get stuck going, not stuck, but in our ways, and that's we're comfortable with. That's what, that's kind of how.
And not only
how we've
stuck,
gotten
we're lucky enough that we can demand what
user
what we
console of
use.
choice. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I just had some guys from India, real nice guys, ask me a bunch of questions, and a lot of the stuff wasn't pertinent to me because, they're like, what do you think when you first walk into a venue about the gear and this and that? I think, man, I walk into a venue, it's the same damn gear every time. We're going to put in the gear,
Yeah.
So I'm really not good at answering a lot of those questions. I haven't dealt with it so long. And also what I feel too is, you're much better than me is ask a guy at a local sound company about mixing a bunch of different 6 bands in 1 week and dialing them up. Man, I dial one band up a year.
Right.
Those are the guys that got those chops now,
So, one tour that I did that I learned so much on was actually Papa Roach. And I did a run with them in Russia. And all I carried was an in-ear rack and microphones and a drum loom. Literally, that was it. It was 3 suitcases basically worth of gear. So I was on a different console every day, but I had the same microphone, so I had the same inputs every day, and ears. So the 2 consistent things were those. The one that wasn't consistent was the console. And I learned so much about one, dialing up every day, like what, but also how different they all sound, and they really do. It's wildly different, and I'm not necessarily saying in a bad necessarily way, but you really do start to notice, like, just EQ differences. You're like, okay, well, I know on this one console I'd always have to cut or boost 1K or something, and this one I don't, like those kind of things. So that was a huge learning experience, just in the fact that of how different the audio processing is, between consoles.
And those are great learning times, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done them in years now, but knock on wood, but you really get some chops down. There's no doubt about it. I remember one time Pooch was mixing it. He goes, I don't know how to work this drum machine out here in front of house. We were like in Surabaya, Indonesia. He's going, no, literally, this thing is a drum machine I'm mixing.
It was, I think it was like the first version of those iLive stuff that came out.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And it felt like I said, like I told Tater, I said, it feels like I'm on a drum machine, not a console. It just feels like that, not necessarily sounds like it. It ended up sounding really good. I was really surprised.
Yeah, I think the show went great.
Yeah. I mixed on one of those, but so I had like 12 different manufacturers of consoles.
Oh,
different types of consoles.
in Russia.
In Russia, so that was the other thing, right? So the system techs I couldn't ask them how to do things. I had to just open up a manual and go for it, But the band was super cool, and they'd come in and they'd be like, okay, let's sound check. I'm like, I'm not ready yet. And they'd be like, no, it's fine. I'm like, I'm not handing you your ears until I know that it's good, and they were cool about that. They're like, no, just give it to us. I was like, nope.
Yeah,
So that's something too you got to learn. Just like sometimes you got to make sure it's right before you hand the product over, because otherwise, I'm
they
can't lose their faith in you,
Yeah.
And if they hear it unfinished, then they'll be like, what's wrong with this guy? Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Right on.
Great chops though when you do that. One of the weirdest things that's happened to me, Sofia, Bulgaria, Alice Cooper tour. I'd like to drop a few names. This was late 90s.
I did Alice Cooper too.
Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, he's on Motley Crue, right? So Toby wasn't letting us carrying any audio that year. I think I carried a drum loom only, maybe some microphones. And by the end of the night, by the end of the before the show, I was on my 4th monitor desk, and they kept stacking them on top of the other monitor desk, right? So they never took the first one away. They were stacking them on. And the final one I ended up with that worked, very oddly enough, didn't have individual channels. It was just like a Soundcraft. I don't know if it was a Soundcraft, but it had just one printed board, right?
Yeah.
Without individual channels, except for it was missing 3 channels.
Oh.
So the holes were there, right? Cutting the plate, but the electronics were going. I'm thinking, aren't those all on one board? That was the console that worked. So
wow.
I know I was trying to think back when I had my last getting my chops back together, and that's probably the last time I can remember. It was the late 90s. So
Everybody should have to do it.
Yeah, you're
Everybody should
right.
have to do it.
Definitely.
I think
but,
you're right.
but I tell you what, maybe that's not happening now because these baby bands are carrying little Behringers and stuff around and stuff like that, and they're not probably doing it as much. I mean, God, can you imagine now carrying like a LV1 around? I mean, what more do you need?
You would be kicking ass.
Yeah.
I know.
Sorry, I'm talking about that. Great stuff. Technology is great.
Technology is amazing. So has there been, this whole, we've talked a lot of shop on this, which we don't normally do, but it's actually kind of cool that we have one now where we've talked a lot about gear. But what we normally talk about a lot is about the relationships that you've had over the years to kind of get you to where you are. Is there maybe one super influential person in your life that's like been there through all of it or gave you advice that got you to where you are? Do you have any of that?
I mean, I've worked a ton with Robert Long. He's put me in some awesome positions. So total props for that. I would say to some extent too, the company Claire has also provided me with amazing opportunities, lining me up with these people. And, I make my own relationships and I've been able to do things, kind of off that path. But I think without their support of it, it would have been a very different path that I would have taken,
For sure. Like if you had just kind of been like, oh, I'm quitting Claire and I'm going to be an independent, that's a whole other game.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I guess between those, but I definitely would think Claire honestly has been an amazing asset for me in navigating that because if I went independent and not with Claire, I wouldn't have met a lot of these people and stuff. So that would have changed a lot of things in my career. So I guess that's maybe not the answer you were looking for.
No.
I think it is.
That is totally the answer. There are some people that answer right away. This mentor taught me everything. And then there's some people that answer like, I didn't really have a mentor. I kind of just went around and, figured out a bunch of shit. And
I mean, I could kind of like line up, who I met and how, but and all of that was important for sure. But
do you have a mixer that has been influential in your mixing? Like for instance, there are several mixers I've watched. One of them is Toby Francis. I've sat behind Toby Francis at a Limp Bizkit show and just been like, I wouldn't even know how to make this sound like this. Like
Pooch.
No idea.
I've sat behind you a lot.
Oh, come on, man.
So,
no, but I mean, you sat behind like major dudes,
Yeah. You.
Thanks. That's nice. But
no, seriously though, like I've learned so much from you. Everybody, you got to take something from everybody. Yeah. Everybody has something to give you. I mean, it's true though.
And having Claire as a company backbone is always great because when you're starting and you don't have a ton of acts under your belt, go out, do some teching and keep you busy, keep the paychecks coming in, keep you kind of stable. So it's always good to have support of a sound company. And I've seen a lot of guys through the years, independent mixers, and they bounce from sound company to sound company to sound company. Not that that's bad, but it's kind of like, man, you might want to stick with a couple and have really good relationships with them because they need you, and when you need them, it's a mutual thing,
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not, that's not a promo necessarily, but it is. But they've been great to me. So
yeah,
I think that path that you took, which is different than I took for sure. I've been an independent guy my whole time, and I enjoy working with all of these different sound companies. But the path that you took is particularly supportive in that. Once you get to where you are as being a mixer, that company, keeps saying, okay, we have this symbiotic relationship and we're going to keep working together. And,
And I've been lucky because I have gotten to work with other companies as well. I've done several other tours with other sound companies where they've even provided all the gear. And I've learned from those companies as well, like what I like and don't like too. So
speaking of that, I meant to ask it before. I'm going to go bring a question way back. Yeah. You brought your board groups to the KISS show for New Year's. Yeah. PA, who did you use? What company? How was it? Blah, blah, blah.
It was PRG Delta Sound.
Delta's big in that region, I think.
Yeah. Yep. In the Middle East. It was L-Acoustics rig of sorts. So, it was K1, K2. There's some Karas. I think even some Kivas, some fills.
Yikes.
Sprinkle a little bit of everything out there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big area to cover, so it was kind of an odd PA configuration. Just one, because there was a pool in the middle of where the audience would be normally,
Yes, I know.
so no reason to put any PA covering a pool.
I know, right?
So the main hangs were like almost 100 feet off center. The stage was massive.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was weird, but they did a great job. They were awesome. Obviously know the PA really well and did a good job with it. So.
That's
And they were probably happy to work too, just like everybody else.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah, for sure.
Happy to do a gig. Yeah.
Happy to be
They were
a gig.
doing. They've been doing a lot of like wrestling stuff. I think UFC type.
Oh right, Fight Island.
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were like, oh, it's nice to have a band.
A rock show. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
it's good
listen,
to
man,
hear.
we've run out of time, but
Yeah.
thank you so much for
absolutely.
giving us your time. And I hope that we can see you in person sometime soon
Yeah.
and give you
Let's
the
get you
old
to do some
COVID
Digico
fist
videos.
bump, because I guess we don't hug anymore. It's I don't know, whatever.
I'm a hugger.
I'm a hugger too. Anyway, thanks for coming, dude. Appreciate
course.
you.
Thanks. Yeah. Keep in touch.
Don't forget, everybody, next week, George Edwards, Tuesday. Thanks for coming. Take care.
Thanks, guys.